All right. So, hi, I'm Lauren Jimenez, and today I'm going to be talking about chapter 13 of our text, which is going to be on the paraphilic disorders. And what those are they are intense, reoccurring sexual arousing fantasies, urges, or behaviors that are distressing or disabling. And they can involve inanimate objects, children, non-consenting adults, and even include suffering of themselves or their partner. And this becomes a problem when it disrupts your daily life. You can't stop thinking about it. You can't go to work. You can't eat. You can't sleep. All this stuff. And it's important to realize that there is a big difference between paraphilic disorders and just odd fantasies or odd sexual preferences. Odd behaviors would include just like little fetishes, like maybe a foot fetish that you and a partner are both interested in doing, consenting to, or like BDSM or like any of that stuff where there's two consenting adults. That would not be considered a paraphilic disorder because it's not disruptive. And paraphilic disorder would be like exhibitionism, where you show your genitals to random people in public without consent, or a more common one would be pedophilia, where you victimize children. And what's important to know with these two is that there's victimizing and non-victimizing forms. And the victimizing would be the coercive paraphilias, which are sex offenses forced on people. And I'm going to give you 3 examples of these. I have them behind me right now. So coercive, remember, are the harmful and forced on others. And the first one I already mentioned is exhibitionism, and that is like when you see in movies the guy walks up to the woman and opens his trench coat and exposes himself to her and she yells and runs away. That would be exhibitionism. Next, we have the Freuderism, and that is when a abuser rubs his pelvic area or his genitals against a non-consenting person, either clothed or unclothed, for sexual pleasure. So like you're on a bus and someone like starts rubbing against you, or not even then, maybe you're in private and someone starts rubbing against you without your consent. And then last we have voyeurism, and this one is kind of like the peeping Tom narrative, where you have someone who likes to spy on people who are engaging in intimate activities like sexual activities or undressing, or any other private scenarios like that, like going to the bathroom or stuff like that. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have non-coercive activities. And these are either solo activities where you don't have a partner, it's just something you like to do by yourself, or they are sexual activities done with a consenting adult. So it's fine if you like agree on it. And for the first one, we have fetishism, and this is probably the most well known. And this includes like foot fetishes, or like that's probably the most common one. But both parties are consenting to that and they are enjoying that. So there's no like intrusion or anything like that. They both consent. And then next we have partialism. And that is when someone has a sexual interest or obsession with non-sexual parts of the human body. So like someone likes your elbows or something like that. Not a non-sexual part of your body. And again, this is okay because there's 2 consenting adults, or they do it solo. And then third, we have sexual sadism and sexual masochism. And the sexual sadism is getting sexual pleasure from inflicting pain on others. And then the masochism part would be liking pain inflicted on yourself. So this would kind of go into that BDSM, 50 Shades of Grey kind of thing that is okay if there's 2 consenting adults. All right. So treatments. One of the biggest, the most important thing to get treatment for is with kids who are victims of pedophilia. And it's so crucial. I can't stress enough how crucial it is to get them in to see a psychologist for like mental help, of course physical health, but mental health too, because children are still growing, they're still developing, and they don't understand like coping mechanisms or guilt. They could have some guilt, so it's important for them to go see someone to get their emotions under control, learn how to cope, so that they can live hopefully healthy lives after this happens to them. And then we also see with paraphilic disorders that family members or spouses a lot of the time will seek treatment for someone they know that has a paraphilic disorder, because for some people they just think this is my sexual preference, like there's nothing wrong with me, there's nothing wrong that I like to do this, but there is. And a lot of the times family members or partners can see that and they will seek treatment for them. And yeah, and then the different kinds of treatments, there's a variety of different ones. For one, there's medication, and that can be like antidepressants or anything like that. Just medication doesn't always work the best on its own, but mixed with like therapy, that brings me to the next one, is that there's therapies like psychotherapy, family therapy, couples therapy, group therapy. There's a bunch of different kinds of therapy depending on the severity of the disorder or like stuff like that. It just depends. Rarely there will be surgical treatment involving castration, or which is, yeah, I think you know what castration is. There's that, or maybe even some brain surgery. And then there's also some hormone receptor treatments, which, like, obviously if you're having sexual, like a paraphilic disorder, it's sexual, and that includes a lot of hormones. So sometimes people will go in and like reduce hormones to try and make you less sexually desire, I don't know, something like that. And as far as how effective those treatments are, short of castration and even the hormone receptors, treatment is not 100% effective ever, because these are sexual desires. These are like human urges and desires. It's hard to get them under control. It's hard to, even if someone goes through all of this treatment, you can't 100% be sure that they won't commit a crime again or commit abuse again to someone else in the future. Like, these urges could come back at any time. So unfortunately, there is no 100% effective cure short of castrating someone. So yeah, that is my little presentation on paraphilic disorders. Hope you liked it.